Hi guys, David here. Today I'm going to talk about how to gain good weight. That's a question I get on a weekly basis. How do I get bigger? How do I get stronger? How do I eat the right foods to do this the right way? Before we get into it, I'm going to read you a quote that says, "There is no food neutral, there is no food Switzerland. Every single thing you put in your mouth is either making you more healthy or less healthy." That quote is from the book It Starts with Food by Dallas and Melissa Hartwig. I read this book about a year and a half ago when I was getting serious about nutrition, learning how to cook, learning how to eat healthy. That was the first time in my life I cared enough to check into that stuff, and I don't regret it for a minute. Multiple things I picked from that book have stuck with me and are still a part of my day-to-day routine as far as food goes. I would highly recommend the book. Yes, it does talk in layman's terms, so anybody can understand it, but if you're into the scientific stuff, the why and the how of everything in this process, it does a good job of delving deeper into that as well. Um, the real takeaway from the book is this, though: eat real food, eat less processed foods, or eat the least amount of processed foods as possible. Processed foods are made by the big food companies because they are easier and they are cheaper for them to produce and sell. That way they make more money. That comes at the expense of our health and nutrition as the consumer. So try to stay away from the fast food restaurants. Try to stay away from any kind of food that comes in boxes. Eat stuff that is grown naturally out of the ground, whether it's animals, plants, so on, so forth. Going on next in today's segment, I'm going to walk you through a few simple ideas for things you can eat on a meal by meal basis, because the next takeaway is this: try and have one source of a protein, one source of a carbohydrate, and one source of a healthy fat at every meal. So beginning with breakfast, try something like this: eggs, oatmeal, healthy fats, just like that. I've been told that the healthiest way to have eggs is over easy because it leaves the integrity of the yolk intact. But don't worry, having scrambled eggs won't kill you. Probably a lot better than having a donut and hash browns, like I mentioned last week, that several of my teenage boys have told me they have pretty frequently, trying to sway them away from that. Up next, we've got lunch. Try something like a chicken breast or pork chop with potatoes and nuts. As far as the nuts go, almonds, walnuts, macadamia nuts. The one thing I would stay away from is the peanut, because it is not a real nut. Google it if you don't believe me. And finally, for dinner, try something like fish, pasta, and yogurt. For the yogurt, I know that Activia is highly recommended. Great source of a healthy fat. Got the probiotics in there. Helps the stomach lining, and it's just all in all good stuff. If you try that for a little while and you're still not gaining weight, I've got one additional suggestion for you. Try a protein shake right before bed. I've got several recipes that are not only very calorie heavy, they are also very healthy at the same time. If you have any interest, I would love to share them with you. They taste delicious. Can't stress that enough. In fact, I eat several of them for breakfast multiple times a week when I don't have time to make a full breakfast like I just talked about a second ago. That concludes today's lesson. I hope you learned something productive, and I hope you have a good weekend. If you have any questions or feedback, as always, feel free to contact me at 913-593-1708 or by email at david@aycfit.com. I will see you next week.